Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. I'm Brad, New Week of Comics. And in my hands is one of those releases. It is Dear Noman Volume 1 from Yen Press. A really interesting manga, and I have to first ask is like, how many of these are basically the plot of The Sixth Sense, or at least the concept of The Sixth Sense, where I see dead people? Like, I've done, maybe a dozen reviews of manga so far, and there's been multiple of these that have had that as, kind of the basis of the story, so clearly it's really popular in Japan, and just kind of really intrigued by how many series takes that idea and a spin on it. Even with that it's a very common thing. This is really good. I really like this first volume. I can't wait to read further ones. So it's by Neji. Translation is by Leighann, Harvey, and then lettering is by Chiho, Christie. So how did I describe this series? So the series is about a young girl named Mashiro who's been able to see ghosts. And in this, she sees ghosts of people, animals, and then these weird creatures that we don't really know about. Well, we learn about those creatures, and they're called Nomans. And they're kind of in between spirits who haven't crossed over and are possibly bad. So she winds up kind of becoming a ghost hunter in a way, and doing a lot of what we've seen a million times over. She's joined by, she gets partnered with Bazu, who is a human-hating crow lady. It all makes sense when you read it. And they go out and kind of bust ghosts and deal with Nomans. Except Bazu is much more about the fighting and dispatching the ghosts, whereas Mashiro is more kind of why are you here? How do we help you to cross over to the other side? So the two personalities don't quite jive. Mashiro is very helpful. It's all about helping her fellow schoolgirls, for all of the fellow students. Bazu's all more about jacking up and thinks Mashiro is too good and too nice. So it's a lot of personality conflict between the two, and it's kind of interesting because of that. And I would say, it's what I really enjoy it. This is about two personalities who just do not get along, who are complete opposite. One's just really jaded, mean, and kind of a dick, and then one who's sweet, innocent, and really caring, and wants to do the right thing, and thrown into this weird ghost busting world. Where it all builds to, and the finale is actually really interesting. I did not expect it to end the way it did, and I'm really excited to read the next volumes because of that. I think there's so much potential here, and some really, really interesting stuff. It's good. It's really, really good. I like the characters. I like the build-up. I like the conflict between it. This isn't so much about the scares and these ghosts and, really dispatching them. It's really about these two characters who are partnered up. I mean, this is very typical story as far as that. It's that age-old, style of the grizzled vet versus, the new rookie. And the grizzled vet being the really, hating people, and the rookie being kind of very still naive and thinking everything's everyone's good. So, it's not a formula we haven't seen a million times, but it's just done really, really well. I like the style too. It's not over the top. There's there is kind of what I'll call that typical manga style to it, that over the top action, but it's really used sparingly, and because of that I think it's done really well because it's done sparingly. We can see a Noman sitting up there in someone's shoulder. So I think it's just done really well, and we'll give kind of the first evil Noman, the kind of the confrontation from there. So it's it's got a lot of stylings of manga. There's a lot to it of typical, but it doesn't fall on the tropes that we see all the time. If I were to describe a manga, this has some of the characteristics, but it doesn't go over the top with a lot of the stuff we see over and over and over again in a lot of them. This isn't about the showy, crazy battles. Easily could have been. This is really about two characters and kind of their partnership and learning about each other, and it's more about the characters, which is, I think, really, really solid. There's also kind of she's a schoolgirl, and it doesn't go over the top with the sexiness. You know, there's some things like teased here and there, but it's kind of creepy. They're like maybe high school, if that. If I think she said she's like 14 or something like that. So it's not even high school, right? Is it what, freshman in high school? So it's kind of creepy. If it went over the top, but it doesn't. Like there's like it goes up to, it doesn't even go up to the line. It's a good 5 feet from the line. But it feels like it's going there and it never quite crosses it, which I actually think is somewhat better in many ways, because again, it breaks a lot of those tropes and expectations that I have of manga. So overall, I really, really enjoy this. I think this was solid. You know, again, I'm not the biggest horror fan, but I enjoy this. Like, this is the kind of the more of I like, the ghost bustings, that sort of stuff. And we're going to see where the series goes. Again, this is much more about the characters and their interaction than it is particularly the ghosts and their stories and scares. So, really, really dig it. I think it's just smart. It's interesting. And, you know, in a world where there's just, it seems like this is this similar theme and concept that we've seen so many times before, it still feels unique and interesting, and it stands out from the batch. Like, in a world of similar concepts, it pulls it off and is able to do its own unique thing. So really cool. I like it. It should be out in shops soon, if not already. I believe it debuts digitally today. We're going to have links underneath this video where you can purchase yours, but we also have a link to comic shops. You should go and order it and go support your local comic shop. Put in your zip code, tell the shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have some affiliate links there, so we get a small percentage, but by doing that, you help support our site, so thank you, but go support your comic shop, seriously. And speaking of support, I want to thank Yen Press for hooking us up with this. We appreciate it, and thank you for watching. Now, if you're into manga, if you're into Yen Press, if you're into comics in general, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, everything at Graphic Policy. Keep it nice and consistent. Until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.